Hello, dear CNN. There are a number of people when I was a kid in grammar school who confessed and recorded. I didn't understand what they were talking about. I knew it was tied to confessions by O'Brien family and by a former mayor Gold, confessed, demonstrated, recorded by involved with database crimes, federal crimes with evidences. Now, see, this is also recorded, confessed, and died. All corners of Highcrest Street, associated with a principal child offenders campus, with more recorded, confessed, and demonstrated further involved intercampuses of each age intercity further, and with his. On the northern corner of that street, though, through time, a number of people made confessions I didn't understand about their roles with the Russians. There's a Peruta family. Nothing personal, Perutas. I don't know you. Can't be personal, but also there's a house in the corner with the corners of Maple Street, all the way up and down from Rocky Hill, Cromwell, all the way past the state judicial branch office into Glastonbury, involved with this. You know, all intercities, interbranch, all private tied to them, intercampuses, intermilitary, foreign and domestic, overt criminal enterprises, crime acting together through time. Whole bunch of people associated with that corner. There's a modern pastry that right when I was coming to see you, if you, I'll jog him because that's my profession. But I'm being worse than extorted in a straight line since before in the Trade Center attack context, right before it. Ninth Circuit proven tied. See, post-dated documents from inside the Ninth Circuit had been presented to the panel of judges right before the attack. But that was proven after. Led to a 2006 case with former director of the FBI Robert Luskin, associated with a whole bunch of federal criminals and co-defendants of his, also as federal criminals, proven tied to further recorded crimes leading up to and in the 2006 case with their co-defendant, former director of the FBI, their co-defendant in a 2006 district case leading up to that too. In other words, intercities with what I was trying to report. I didn't tell my father about it because there are if you don't report federal crimes, it's a federal crime. Certain things. So I knew that they were gonna. In other words, the former director of the FBI is a co-defendant in a associated with a whole bunch of federal criminals he beat in an NLRB case already. Now they're involved with a pro se civil civil case, racketeering case, but their involvements with unions criminally. Now, see, these are people also with crime acts against me at each age of fact sheet nature. These are also crime acts rolled with people, family members on people on the sex offender registry, especially if made up because they're involved with undercover with Weathersfield Police through time, retired and standing. Whole bunch of drug clerks, criminal uses of them on and off the campuses I went to. Whole bunch of people with a associated with an Iowa family on off Trinity College with his sister on off it with the fire departments and with they call him the Johnny Duke, the dinosaur boxing, and people associated with Sammy Vega and John Scully with Billy Grasso, his body dumping spot. A whole bunch of people associated with Enzo Fienza, associated with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso and his family with that. Crimes with WFSB, fake news, and some Dillon family. Sean Dillon and people associated with foreign and domestic military, all time kind of crimes with databases. But through time, a whole bunch of people demonstrated timed crazy things associated with that corner. I mean, insidious things. Like one time, there was like a driving like a sports car or something. Like right when I come to that spot, and so they exploit your view when you're not going to see something coming. And then there's a woman with right here. With daughter, she also associated on and off the state judicial branch offices with people associated criminally with this pattern of criminality here. In other words, these are also people associated with Stop and Shops. There, I don't know the brothers of or the family member. I've never met of Nick LaPera. Him and a whole bunch of people associated with on off Two Rod Highway, which you know goes to the Berlin Turnpike and Hang Dog Lane, which is at the other end of the street. Now I don't know if that's still the Peruta family if they sold that or what. That's what I heard it was, and they said they repeated they were Russian. The only contacts I know of them in, and now adult contacts. In other words, and they're involved with the fire department and Inspector Mike Kerr and KNERR and a Jerry Miller also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with interbranch police uses of their Facebook page for crimes with child sex offenders with a whole bunch of doctors involved, whole bunch of judges involved, crime methods and natures recorded involved, preventing rape threats from online from being reported, attaching me to fake conversations about my Facebook pages. These are doctors of mental health care, forging names, switching names, using online crime methods to pretend people to fake conversations. Criminal uses of our behavior to hide their own federal crimes, all natures of crimes against us. Juxtaposed, because these are people, former director of the FBI down, a whole bunch of people with the CIA and their family members associated with federal crimes with the Leahy family with this. Trade Center Predicate Act clicks, mail crimes, wire crimes, various natures of courts, and their drug clicks with them. Then no, putting people away for way less than they did and do, and making things up, sticking things, attaching kids to fake locations through time with judges too. Criminal uses of KKK, Confederate flag theme, all these flag themed nations, people, every single one of them on off these locations too. A whole bunch of people with the Scalora family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes with the Saudi groups and using against Saudi. In other words, they have shared policing that's legitimate to the extent they're all knave together in modern nations. And that's what that's why they're not letting the organized crime conversation, the first part of the crime, be valued. They're forcing fake sides, stay maintained, because we have worse than negotiated with terrorism, an organized crime method keeping everyone blaming the real breaching organized crime method caused negative value nature progression. Acts natures blamed on other things, others and self-valuing that, needing to highlight progressions from each spot. Self-valuing how facilitated to. We have offensive evidence reception crimes. Whole bunch of people with CCSU through time. There's people with the educational department. I don't know. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated a whole. There's a named Galucci. There's a former principal named Murphy, and people with Mike Levine, and people in his family associated with a whole bunch of people with on off Trinity College, on off CCSU, on off Fox Connecticut News, on off WFSB, interstates, intercities, interbranch, federal evidence crimes. They stole my identity, Fox News, WFSB. Fox News is recorded being coached to steal it, to hide their live progressions. Way worse. And they just keep talking. So, in other words, we don't have real news. They're quoting statutes, criminally exploiting how they exploit exceptions. That's what we have criminally foreign influence statutes originally still. We have criminally foreign influence database relationship, timed uses of the reactions of and roles self-valuing that. So we're going to need free speech and mandated law followed. We have two Mendes police involved criminally with the WFSB recorded with locations and people associated with Weathersfield Pizza. and their fake news where they're really furthering what they're pretending is just their right to do fake news because they have federal evidences crimes with federal criminals sequence shifts with them and with the area they approach people pretend they don't realize they were already recorded confessed and demonstrated involved federal crimes with federal criminals especially the ones with badges through time this is proven that there's a Joshua Julian also recorded and confessed and demonstrated involved with a pattern of spreading lies with overt criminal enterprises by police forms and sick people with drug clicks, also attaching kids to fake locations with judges, with child sex offenders. Further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated associated with the campuses. Now they have military involved with this because they had them in the past involved with identity thefts, with narratives, with police, with and this is what they're fighting. Oh, and they're justifying no, so they're justifying themselves as information criminally foreign influence. Whole bunch of people associated with the mobile gas stations, associated with federal criminals, and a former director of the FBI down crimes of databases, sequence shifts. That's how I know about it. Before I ever went to work at the one mobile gas station, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Whole bunch of people involved with Mr. Pruzzi. Other people that were involved with database crimes, associated with a former mayor Gold, associated with a whole bunch of people with the forensics clicks, crimes with houses in my area like real close to me. The database crimes when I was at that campus when I was a kid. Now with further child offender roles that were with the principal, and these are women judges roles, forging names, switching names, preventing any verbal counters, lying about their motives for that because those are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Also, they were with rape threats with their Facebook pages, crimes and cases, falsified police reports, um, sexual crime act roles, and stuff like that. With a detective Samuda who pretended he was a arresting officer in me, attaching me to fake locations with courts that did the same thing when I was a kid, the same ones. There were people bunch of people when I was a kid that recorded and confessed and demonstrated that they had crime rolls on off CCSU when they were in high school. I never had anything to do with them. A Kyle Gill, other people associated with this. Whatever's on and off CCSU, each age of campuses tied to Washington, D.C., Trade Center. It's further than they think. Sick, criminally foreign influenced, involved with a whole bunch of people, names stacked, associated with the Samuel Dix house area criminally. Like all victims, but victim predators. Then they want to call you rats. These are Justice Department racket rolls. Real sick people on off the state prison offices with the prisons. Right? You think they put innocent people there and they don't let them every day. They don't follow the rules. They show you stuff on TV that's fake. I'm not a criminal. I know about this because they forced the principal child offender who then got caught anyway for reportedly for upskirt pictures. Now there were worse recorded rape threats and abuse of the youngest kids. Don't even understand that. Same people with youngest kids, LGBTQ in their minds. Are they out of their minds? We have sick doctors, medical people associated with the Institute of Living, Hartford Hospital campuses, forging names, switching names, drug crime rules, formal overt criminal enterprises, criminal crime acts rules with the Witness Protection Program. This officer Jerry Miller also recorded confessed crimes with Jerry Kerr and a Mike Kerr years ago. I don't know them. I only know them barely. They recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, trying to pretend they're illusion. They have people associated with Church Street, Old Weathersfield, associated with a Hanson family, a DeMuro family, a whole bunch of people that were involved with police explosions, things like that. Different programs with foreign and domestic police involved with lying and this is exploiting database relationships. In other words, where you're gonna walk after this, it takes you this long to get to the cafeteria. This is where you're gonna end up, and they're exploiting that with they're really using the drug crime rolls, because the people most sickly with the drugs are people making things, using it for evidence crimes, various natures of long time standing prosecutors and newer ones from my town Interbranch, on off the state judicial branch offices, on off the state prison offices, involved with them with database crimes through time. Whole bunch of people like there's a Phil Cololo who's the cousin of a Ray Cololo. He's reportedly was in my grade. The only visual confrontation I saw from a distance, he was handed a golden watch. Now that's involved with the people that are involved with identity theft, database crimes, sequence shifts, whole bunch of people associated with the Leahy family, whole bunch of people associated with the corner the Samuel Dix house criminally, on off all sides of the campuses, connected, you know. And these are people I had nothing to do with, pretending others. They're using Facebook, then they take away your Facebook pages because they're an abridged constitution, then they're pretending they're just covering that up. They're interbranch sex crime acts roles, attaching little kids to fake locations with judges that are intercultural crimes with KKK as black women judges, pretending not to realize because that's recorded too. They have sick people working intercultural with our court, and this is CNN. These are your sources. That's recorded. CCSU is involved through time with intercities campuses of each age, a whole bunch of other natures of campuses, especially ones with criminal justice, real sick like them, associated also with the acting departments, like an acting department next to Fox Connecticut News. A whole bunch of their building, their private police, their sources Interbranch, the ones that work for them also, and just the building police of them, involved with rackets, wire crime methods, mail crime methods. Then they pretend not to realize. Oh, it's just world. That's how the law goes. You fix your fake news crime acts, free speech. Now one must teach. A whole bunch of people associated with this Casper family, a whole bunch of people associated with this Charlie Bowes, on off Trinity College, federal crimes, former director of the FBI down, overt criminal enterprises, especially if that's made up and they're just training people on off Trinity College with those punk things that you call means on Park Street, let alone what's in New York. That was forced by the organized crime method against our founders. That's clear as day. Who's going to argue that it has to use lies, physical delusions, and criminally trick fact sheet nature, which is the recorded substance of our laws? Criminally foreign influence originally still self-valued. That's not our founders' history. The one that's forced claim positive minds everyone, because everyone was lied to sickly distinctly. This is a there's not this loves to have everyone blame other things others themselves, anything but blaming the quality of fact sheet nature. That's what we're going to do. We're going to draw the people stacking, and we're going to admit it for what it is. And we're going to list the natures of reliefs needed. And we're going to reveal means unfathomed with that, because the whole species wants to counter this. They just can't fathom it. We're just going to draw it. And we're going to stack it with means. One way redeems. It's pantheism. Everyone only, this is beyond. See, with this, taxes and go for this stuff. This is a value nature, criminally foreign influence. They can't afford to heal us. They can't afford to defend what they call capitalism. They can't, in other words, this is not, this is forsaken, never liberated, sub rosa, active, and contain captive states and areas, intersciences, criminally foreign influence, delusions wrought, all victim predators, life progressions, negative value nature progression roles, self valuing blamed by other things, others themselves, that exploit at each spot. Not by accident. I'll get hot. It's recorded. I forgot what was going to be. No words. The preventing mandated law. The fake news that they quote statutes have the right to do. They knowing it really recorded through time. Now, see, when I was in middle school, then there were people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with crimes that implied they were in conversations or knew anything about me in grammar school. Now, these are people who are adults now involved with child offenders with this school and further recorded with the campuses. The language that with a sick video of a Wethersfield principal implied that he's conscious that there, in other words, that there is military corruption. Well, these are people with these are judges retired and standing. These are people with prison clicks, live progression roles with them already. Now they're stuck with that. A whole bunch. There's a woman with, I don't know if she's related to the Phil Clough because he has red hair too. My neighbor doesn't have red hair, and then I don't know the name of her his mother. But she's got family also involved on and off Panera Bread, on and off with the shared policing of the stores, shared policing of car dealerships. There's a Ray Cololo involved with, and then you try to talk to these car dealers, then they're gonna go with the rackets that deal with them all the time. In other words, we have no leadership that's not criminally foreign influence sicker than most killers as prosecutors originally still. In other words, religion failed. We need fake news fixed. WFSB is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of people with other news outlets too, sickly, distinctly, and non-distinctly with Millwoods Park, and with a whole bunch of police forms and people associated with federal crimes with CCSU, with Trinity College, with a whole bunch of people associated, former director of the FBI down, associated with federal criminals, co-defendants of his and their family members, crime acts roles with them, facilitated, and their family members and themselves, and sexual circles involved with overt criminal enterprises. There are drugs with that. Everyone's speaking through others, and where everyone's lying offensively, and pretending they have integrity at the same time. When you're gonna walk by, what are you gonna say? You start arguing with somebody you don't know, or you're gonna not arguing. You're gonna start. These are crime methods that in the past affected media communications with people that use that now because they're pretending things in the background because they're stuck, because they're recorded forging names, switching names with women with the name Alicia, a whole bunch of people associated with New York City, on and off Trinity College, on and off CCSU, involved a whole bunch of people, crimes with connections to the houses next to the campuses, involved with the child offenders, abuses of them, each age. Because now these are roles with various natures of courts and their family members attaching kids to fake conversations, fake locations, and then having their punk family members pretend illusions tied to that, like Della Ferra's, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated further involved with Highcrest School and on and off the middle school, involved with judges involved with various natures of sexual abuses of each age of fact treatment nature, and with male and female judges and medical doctors of psychology. Recorded delusions raw, criminally foreign influence, real sex sequence natures, identity theft, forging names, switching names, drug crime rolls, criminal uses of untimely death, criminal uses of investigators, real punk sick fakes. Now CT breaks. Return. I'll turn to campus here. I'll lead you to learn. I'm not even a doctor. We must humble their fake sick minds since founding, pounding drums. And with various this is it, crime methods recorded individually, executive branch individually, um political branch, and individually the judicial branch, and then grouped on off their state offices, on off the state prison offices, a whole bunch of people tied to a confessions and crime acts and methods associated with Enzo Fienzo, and I forgot his cousin's name, associated with a whole bunch of houses on Two Rod Highway, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with intercities. With no, in other words, there's a LaPera family, and this is people with. If you guys made that up too about him breaking his back, I don't know. So I don't know these people, but in other words, either way, those people are all victims of victim predator roles with narratives and databases that are totally made up. I barely know who he is, Nick LaPera. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved crimes with a whole bunch of people with a Maria Fazina. Whole bunch of people on off the state judicial branch offices, on off this Two Rod Highway, Hangdog Lane. That goes into the Berlin Turnpike. No, because these are people that were right around the corner from one of the Stop and Shops is a construction place associated with a John Mayano, also associated with the Federal Crime Act's fake news, fake conversations with me. No, lies about the past and lies about the present. And medical crime acts roles, a whole bunch of people associated with it as a Dillon family, a Leahy family, a whole bunch of other people, MPO Floyd, whole bunch of people associated with Justin Klavinskis, his wife, involved with database crimes, crimes on off Normandy Heights, crimes with on off locations next to CCSU, people associated with body dumping spots, really and or if made up, associated criminal crimes with the transition from Alca to Rica, was or crimes with these people that the strangers that make confessions to me, then they pretend they normally go out of their way to hide it. Like all with a pattern tied to this Dillon family, with my new and past neighbors involved further with child offenders, sexual, medical, judicial, police forms, forging, switching names, mail crime rolls, fake conversations with me. Get me a response. They're forging names, switching names. Since I was a kid, they won't put anything in writing. 10. Now, these are a whole bunch of people on off Hartford Hospital, on off the end of. Now there's a whole bunch of people with a Della Fair family and with a Scalora family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved crimes with also with a Aiello family on off child campuses, a Spada family. I don't know them. These are people involved with the Officer White, reported real or made up, especially made up, with the shooting of someone they said had a knife in his hand in the North End. Because these are also people with intercampuses, interstates, and intercities associated with like statistical represent, and thinking. They don't know how to. They're criminally foreign influence database relationships natures. They can't defend what justifies and values that, and protect and have the integrity to deal with what really is behind the shootings, on off the areas with them the most, and tied to the people, especially if made up with the two shootings associated with the shootings recently with Hartford and with Weathersfield, like today or the other day. Though that shooting is also tied, recorded, confessed, involved with the Sammy Vega, people involved with the Confederate flag, with judges and with their family members, even women judges, black and white crimes with these, with even a black doctor, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crimes with. There are a whole bunch of today sequence shift too, because they're not giving the names in order. But there's also a Judge Killian, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a pattern of rape threats, of other natures of crimes, with proven child sex offenders further involved with them, with crimes with doctors of psychology, with a triage place in Hartford. Whole bunch of interbranch Hartford, various natures of courts used criminally leading up to a 2006 case, leading up to the two trade center attack, interstates with the same ones, intercampuses, crimes with them, with their police forms, with foreign and domestic military, with worse than extortion here. Now, fix the fake news and get me a response. Since before the Trade Center attack, in a straight line, there's a straight line of crimes, preventing from what, demonstrating what led up to it in the context further proven and further recorded. Crimes even inside the Ninth Circuit further recorded, tied to the actors associated with the proven post-dated documents from inside the Ninth Circuit, note right next to the Trade Center, shown to the panel of judges, post-dated documents. So we have a pattern of crimes with CNN, and there's a whole bunch of other nations involved here. A whole bunch of people associated with a Scalora family, foreign and domestic military, and she's got roles with crimes with the child sex offenders cliques, with the CCSU cliques, and Trinity cliques, also with the crime with the campus in my area. There are further people and her family member involved with this, and with the Joe DeMoro and two Joe. There's Joe DeMoro's Intercities. These are also people with crimes all the way from Cromwell to past the judicial branch offices with Maple Street and into Glastonbury, criminally involved through time. I just remind, get them to one name and sequence into branch and down. All gather round. These are crimes with the former director of the fair, Robert Luskin. These are crimes right through administrations. No, lying about every word I say every year. Note that. Note that this is databases crimes. Whole bunch of people recorded, demonstrated, confessed. Whole bunch of weird behavior tied to the corners associated with these Russian families. And these are also recorded and confessed and demonstrated, involved with the networks, involved with the criminal uses of the town offices, further involved with the sex offenders, family members involved, federal crimes with people involved with, forging names crimes, drug crime rolls with Hartford Hospital, with police forms with them, was sustained on and off the campuses. People associated with Saybrook, associated with the houses on and off Trinity College, involved with a whole bunch of people. The CCSU is involved with a whole bunch of people from my town, involved that I never had class with, never attached me to fake locations. Now, in other words, it's something to do. A whole bunch of people confessed, recorded, demonstrated. There's the name Sharkies. I don't know these political families and stuff like that associated criminally with this, with the people involved now with the child offenders in this Dillon family, foreign and domestic military, my new and past neighbors, names where we're playing games, everyone's speaking to each other. You're gonna give me you're gonna pick one name in sequence now, because these also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involve criminal uses of the witness protection program, houses in the area, crimes with smoke and coming through a chimney, and something had to do with them on the roof with a thing with that, and into religious cliques. There's a Kerr family also recorded and confessed, demonstrated there's a religious spot and an old Stewart, like the leader of the religion, also had a daughter in my grade, and also crimes around with houses associated with actor and people associated with um I believe it was one of them might be an actor, looked like one of the actors in a movie with Snoop Dogg, who's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated having been facilitated to crime acts roles with Trinity College that was used from off campuses with the people from CCSU involved. So in other words, these are directions for the courts and interbranch people that were already affected to need to hide live progressions for their personal criminal involvements with speaking through others. All kinds of natures of database crimes, sequence shifts, preventing free speech, and stealing people's identities. A whole bunch of natures of identity theft crimes tied to the houses next to the schools involved here criminally. So Fox Connecticut News also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved crimes with Los Solitos on and off their location. With the people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with overt criminal enterprises involved with them, and with criminal justice cliques involved with their overt criminal agenda, crimes with their patients and criminals before they go in there, and so including and especially regarding the principal child offender. These are also people of crime roles with the shared policing of stores, foreign and domestic. Fear. All clear. Cities falls here. Prepare. So Facebook is recording because they're sustaining, they're using, this is also them recorded criminal uses of what they call the force, whatever like that, and the Jedi mind tricks and stuff like that. They're forcing sustained. In other words, they're stacking federal crime acts roles of people, verbal federal crimes. Now they say, "Oh, we have the right to lie and to say those things," but not if it's to hide. They're already recorded federal crimes and cases, not against a whole bunch of people. They already criminally treated humanity. We have really sick recorded people associated with the Justice Department racket roles, with on off the state judicial branch offices, on off the state prison offices, on off this Samuel Dix house, places with hills associated with that. That's people right next to campuses further and criminally involved. Dr. Graham, other judges, she recorded, confessed, and demonstrated herself with physical delusions and with criminal roles with the extended family members of a Ray Colo. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated one of the ones with the former Mayor Gold and the O'Brien family crimes with the child sex offender campus, real and or especially if made up because there are further sex crime acts roles and roles recorded attaching kids and their family members to fake locations, fake ties to others criminally, with the uses of the Facebook pages for sustained abuses of each age of fact treatment nature. Now we have more principles involved in this. We have more sensibilities with people on the phone because everyone's relying upon experts that are being used to further those same things. So I know about this because they're also on off web school further too. They're on off other schools further too, not just in Wethersfield, on off Franklin Avenue, on off Wethersfield Avenue schools, further involved. You fools, you fall. Build wall. So get me a response. Hartford, Wethersfield. Let's go. I'll show you how to lead. I'll show you how to reveal how much they know. Many nations, there and here they are us. They are ourselves. We our leaders fail. I'll show you how. Oh, bow, fake branches, bow right now and fall. I'll show you how to respond to these, especially if they made it up about the shooting with this Mendez police involved, because they're already involved with all kinds of natures of federal crimes with kids through time. I just remind, I never had a conversation with this. They pretended me to fake conversations with them, put it in quote, pretended that police equipment was recorded it. They did that with a child sex offender, with judges involved with crimes, with a whole bunch of people associated with Sammy Vega, with Confederate flag theme, Puerto Rican flag theme, Cuban flag theme, crimes with those fucking nations. You get me. You get this. You get this. I don't care if they're police formed families. They're involved with my sources, and they're lying about my sources, which became my sources because of their method. The whole bunch of a whole bunch of crime acts and confessions sustained associated with New Britain Superior Court since I was a kid. Sequence shifts since I was a kid. See, now they can't admit they're doing vertical and horizontal confessions through people that hang around all the time. They don't hang around at all. No, my neighbor with the cousin involved with the child offenders, the Phil Cololo, and he recorded confessed with also with the DeMorals that they're associated with the Scalora family. They said it was related to them. Now these are people involved with a whole bunch of people associated with the Abruzzi family, leaderships of prisons and stuff like that, with crimes on and off Normandy Heights, foreign and domestic military involved criminally, whole bunch like oh, but they use the FBI roles with the area, CIA families. They're all recorded, confessed, and demonstrated of associated with interbranch families on and off these campuses involved with the child offenders. What are they doing with that corner of Highcrest School? All the corners around on Maple Street, tied to this Kerr family, tied to this DeMoro family, tied to these Carone brothers, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, tied to people associated with the Department of Transportation, them sharing girls and associated with Mark Violet, his brother, his family members, on off Webb School, on off Highcrest School, a whole bunch of people associated with House in my area, crimes with a whole bunch of federal criminals and the family members of them and their neighbors. Eric Jensen, these are people that put in classes. Eric Oliveri. These are people involved with database crimes, and then lies behind my back. In other words, lies of the federal crime roles with interbranch leaders, retired and standing, all private tied to them. Real sick. What do you think? That's what they call let's face the environment. Pretend we're against what we're. This is nature. We have no integrity. All we have allowed. We need free speech right now. Have WFSB fix their fake news and get me a response, because they even use the governor to spread lies with interbranch family members, overt criminal enterprises associated with this Joshua Julian, criminal uses of their Facebook pages, criminal uses of sensibilities with the Wethersfield police, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated federal crimes with a whole bunch of people with local 230, other cliques with unions associated with federal crimes with overt criminal enterprises, and as the ones criminal uses of the witness protection program tied house in the area and people associated with that. Also as the ones associated with the criminal uses of the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by the fans and by men and women associated with them, on and off WFSB, involved with them, federal crimes, interbranch, recorded, confessed through time, sequence shifts, attaching me and my family members to fake words, recorded. That if you weren't there, how do you know? Because that's recorded in litigation. They lied about what is already litigated in a pattern too. That's a recorded criminal uses of depositions of Hartford courts leading up to and in the 2006 case with them crimes with a whole bunch of people with other on and off CCSU leading up to that, on and off Trinity College leading up to that, on and off intercities leading up to that. Get down. I'll gather around. Why make your word? Why make me beg? Fix the fake news conversation with me now. Now. I can't do work until you do this because of all the stuff with Sammy Vega, all these people involved with these database crimes, a whole bunch of people involved with sexual circles, all victim predators. That's the only thing they're going to let unfold. Sick people associated with West Farms Mall. Get them to give me a response right now, West Farms Mall. What are you doing there, WFSB? Get away from the kids. Get out. Fix the fake news now. Get out of there. Get out of there. Go. Fix the fake news now. Get me a response right now. You pick one name in sequence now. Fake branches bow and fall.